From the Highlands of Zone 4, it's time for another episode of There Can Be Only One.
Somebody grab me my shillelagh! I mean, seriously, it's a little stick.
Here we are, born to be kings. We're the princes of the universe.
And welcome back to the monthly podcast all about Highlander, specifically Highlander American Dream from IDW right now. I am Brant Fowler, a.k.a. the Gonzo Goose.
And I'm Chris, the Dark Avenger, formerly known as Chris Ventura no more.
That's right. And if you want to know what that's all about, go to youtube.com/DarkAvengerC86.
Yep, and check out the playlist, Dark Avenger Reborn. I'll give you guys a heads up. You can just watch the last episode, and then when you enjoy the finale, you can go back and check out all the other awesome episodes that basically sum up my entire channel in in 8 videos or less.
So I have to ask you a question before we get into Highlander. Because you mentioned it, why did you replay the clip that started the teasers? You used that clip in the very first teaser, and then you used it again.
Okay.
I'm just curious.
In the last video, what I wanted to do, honestly, the first video I used the full clip. In the last video, I only used the important quotes from the first clip. And if you're talking about the Christopher Reeve thing, that was the most important because Superman Reborn, you know. And
well,
also,
course,
I wanted when I went. The whole point of the series was to show that, you know, it showed my channel from the very beginning all the way through and all the different moments in the channel that led up to today. And then what I decided was what better way to start the channel from its origin again than to start with the very first thing that's actually on my channel, which was the Superman quote, the Christopher Reeve quote. Mm-hmm. And I put everything in there on purpose to kind of show myself watching all of that again, but it's an abridged version of the full series. Right. And there were things obviously that I left out, and
of course
it was done on purpose so that by the time you get to the very end, it's like, oh, okay, now I understand. So you have two ways of watching it. You could watch just the last episode and get an abbreviated version of my channel. Now, you'll miss out on the Frontline and Dark Avenger Inc. videos because I didn't put any clips in there from those two episodes. Right. But if you want an abridged version of what's gone on my channel from start to finish, you could just watch the last episode and get the big abridged version. You can come back later and watch the other longer videos. It took a lot of time and a lot of editing, and I hope you do watch it just for the enjoyment and for the fact that it took me hours to do it. But at the same time, if you want the abridged version because you missed out on the other episodes, the last episode sums up my channel, at least. Frontline and Inc. got a nice spotlight in 2 videos, though, so you might want to check those out on their own.
Absolutely. All right, cool. Thank you. And I hope everyone will forgive us for that little digression, but I thought it was an important thing to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
And it was topical.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to mention one other thing. Sure. I will be doing a Dark Avenger podcast now, based specifically on that, why I came to the decision, the whole process of, the whole backstory on it will be on the next Dark Avenger podcast. So if you want to hear a more in-depth reasoning for it and what it means moving forward and what it means to me and why I got rid of the full tag Chris Ventura, it'll be on that podcast. I can tag that because this and that are part of the Zone 4 podcast network. So there you go. Inner podcast tagging.
Absolutely. All right, so back to the topic at hand.
Yes.
Highlander American Dream came out, it was last week, right?
Yep, it came out last Wednesday.
Yeah, last Wednesday. We're a little late getting this episode up, but, lots of reasons. We'll talk about more of what we've been up to this past month on Zone 4 next week. Yep. But needless to say, there was a lot going on, and we had to postpone this a little bit, and we had some technical issues here and there too. So, but here we are. We're finally talking about this issue, and we're excited. Highlander, The American Dream, issue number 3. Which now are there 3? I mean, are there 4 issues or 5?
5. There's 5
okay.
because I just ordered issue 5 for
Okay.
July. I think it was July. No, June. For June.
June. It has to be June. Yeah. All right. Awesome. So we got 2 more issues after this. Awesome.
Yep.
I was kind of afraid that it was almost over.
I'm petrified. I'm nervous for the July solicits because that'll tell us if it goes to an ongoing or not.
Yeah. Exactly. I wonder if they're out. I'm gonna look up these solicitations while we're talking. And but no, this issue came out last Wednesday, which was, I believe, April 19th.
April 19th, you're right.
Right, April 19th. And this, I have to say, overview, before I start breaking it down and all this stuff. Overview.
He's stealing the way I review books now. I see how it is. That's fine. It's good.
You shouldn't have told me beforehand how you did it. No, seriously. I just wanted to say, for me personally, this issue was a stronger issue than last issue.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I feel like this was, we had like a high note with that first issue, then it dipped down just a little bit, because I still enjoyed it for that second issue, and now we're back up. My hats off again to the creative team, Brian Ruckley, and Andrea Muti, and Vladimir Popov, and everyone else involved with the book. Definitely want to shout that out. So this issue, we're back in 1955,
Yep,
New York, as excuse me, they're still on the trail of John. Is it John Hook?
Yeah, John Hook.
Yeah. Okay.
Hooke.
Right, John Hook. And it's interesting because there's this guy who claims to be from the FBI, and I still haven't figured out if he's actually from the FBI.
That's the Watcher.
I thought
that's
so.
In 1985, except he's got like colored hair now. Because the one thing that I questioned, I had to go back, and it's nobody's fault. It's just the fact that, remember, the main story takes place in 85. So my problem was they never mentioned if we were back in 85 or if we were in 55. And then slowly I started to realize, okay, we must be in 55 because they're still talking about the murder that happened in 55 like it was yesterday. So it had to have, they must have stayed in 55.
Yeah, you can also tell by the way they dress in the cars and all that stuff. So I think artistically they did a good job of portraying the different timelines, but I agree. It would have been nice to have just like a little blurb at top, New York 1955. But if you read the description, it does say that that's where they're at the very beginning of the book. So just a little minor kind of little nitpick there. I agree with you though. So this issue, it was very interesting. I thought it was the Watcher, so I'm glad you clarified that as well. He's pretending to be an FBI agent, and he's on the hunt. And it's interesting because the officer he's working with reminds me of Bullock from DC.
Yes, he does. He does a lot.
Yeah, like bare minimum, kind of slouchy, sloppy kind of guy. Mm-hmm. And they're going around questioning everybody, including the good brother there, the monk, Vasily. Yeah, and there wasn't a whole lot of things happening in this issue, but at the same time, it was all about Hook, going on this murder spree or whatever, and he's still killing victims and everything, and we learn the Watcher or the FBI agent, whatever you want to call him, is following his trail for centuries, and he just can't catch up to him, which I thought was very interesting. And now we're getting an altercation between Connor and Vasily and Hook, which it kind of gets really bloody, fast once they catch up with him. But I thought this was a fantastic issue. It was like it had a nice build. You started off kind of slow with just they're sitting at a bar having a drink or whatever, talking about this, and you got the cops kind of investigating, talking, and interviewing people and stuff. And this murder is taking place. That it's a serial killer because he's taking people's eyes because Connor shot his eye out. And not to give too much away, but you guys know that. So
I do like that they actually did play from the mythos. Anything from the neck up, it's harder to heal.
Right.
So, like, if they lose an eye, they get shot in the brain, like they get brain damage or whatever, they're basically confirming that it's harder for the immortals to come back from that.
Right. Yeah, I like that too. I like that they touched on that. and that's the way that it's going, because that makes more sense. Because I mean, if that's what you have to take out to kill them ultimately, it makes sense that it wouldn't heal as fast.
Could you imagine if you went blind and you were an immortal, and the rest of your life you would have to go through immortality blind?
That would suck.
That would suck. I'd be like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, just take my head. But I mean, they could still be functional and everything, of course. No offense to our blind brothers and sisters out there, friends and family alike.
Of course. No, I'm just saying, it's like also if they lose a limb. Could you imagine being deaf, blind, no arms, no legs, immortal? Yeah,
it would. that would not be a fun life to have. No, I agree with you. That'd be torture, honestly.
That would be like being dead but not, because you can't really do anything.
Yeah.
And that's all eternity.
Yeah, that would suck.
That reminds me of something that Weapon X would do.
Yeah, they probably would. Just a note, real quick. By the way, I'm kind of flowing through IDW solicitations for July.
Yes.
I am not seeing any Highlander for July. So if that doesn't mean they're not coming back, though. Just putting that out there. They might take a couple months off, see how sales are, and come back. Let's hope for that. Let's hope for that.
I am hoping for that, because Dynamite, like I said, they had an ongoing, they had 2 mini-series, and they look very good. I haven't got my hands on them yet, but I'm hoping IDW kind of has a broader audience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying Dynamite doesn't. I mean, Dynamite definitely has an audience, but Dynamite, when I say Dynamite, I think Pulp, I think a few TV shows here or there. With IDW, it's like you've got the classic 80 cartoons. Now you're getting some classic 80s, TV and movies, stuff like that. So I just feel like the audience for Highlander would be more in IDW right now than they would be for Dynamite.
Mm. Yeah.
So I'm hoping that maybe that'll kind of spur up a little bit of, a want for another series of Highlander.
Right. I think it would be awesome. And I think, again, this creative team has done an amazing job on this book. Yes. To finish my thought, I love the progression of this, how you led up to this action, and at the end of the issue you get full out, battle between these immortals, and it obviously continues into the next issue, because spoiler alert, he gets away. But because but honestly, I love this issue from start to finish. I thought, I love. Is it Rachel? Is that her name?
Yep.
I love her, the way she dealt with the cops. She was just like, I don't know anything. I'm not telling you nothing. If I did, I wouldn't tell you. Just leave me alone. She was cool. She was just calm and cool. And this Watcher dude, he's interesting. I'm liking his character so far. He's mysterious.
I'm liking to hate him.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I like to watch him, though, because there's more under the surface there, and I appreciate that. So I thought it was a very solid issue. What did you think?
I really liked it. Like I said, with the last issue, especially with Highlander, there's always that backstory that they give you, and I feel like when you're watching an episode or a movie of Highlander, there's that half hour of, okay, well, or 15 minutes when you're watching a half-hour episode of, well, here's the backstory, and here's their history. And I feel like we got a lot of that in issue 2, which makes sense, because if you figure the 5 issues together equal an episode or a show or a movie.
Yeah.
Sense. So that's why I didn't give issue 2 a lot of flack, because I knew issue 3 things were going to pick up. And once we got into this issue, that's exactly what happened. My only, like I said, nitpick was that I thought we went back to 1985 because they were, deciding to team up. But then when you see Rachel, when you see the way the age of the Watcher, you're like, okay, we must still be in 1955. And like you said, the way people were dressing, it made sense that they stayed in 1955. So I like that Connor, the character, he doesn't want to, he's not looking to make any new friends. Like, Vasilik is trying to be, like, friends with him, and he's like, the quickening's going to happen, and in the end there can be only one, so I'm not looking to make any immortal friends that I'm going to have to lose later. So you kind of get that.
Right.
I like that, because it's like, you got to think, it's true, because if every immortal has to kill one another, who wants to make friends between immortals when you're going to have to kill that person possibly at some point?
Right, exactly. It's a hard life, man. It's not a blessed life. It's kind of a curse.
And I appreciate that the writer actually does that. I appreciate that he shows, hey, look, this isn't all, roses and peaches and cream. Being immortal sucks on a level as well. It's a blessing because you get to live forever, but it sucks because this is what happens.
Yeah, and also, all the relationships that you build with non-immortals, you lose so many people.
They played on that in issue 1.
She's
gonna
exactly.
grow old one day, and he's like, "Don't shut up! I don't want to hear it."
Yeah, exactly. So you bring up an interesting point that issue 2 was the flashback heavy issue. It makes me wonder. Okay, is issue 4 going to be kind of like that too? Maybe not so far back, but maybe it's going to flash back to something else, because I think with the end of this issue, this is probably the last time they saw him until 1985.
Right.
That's the kind of image I'm getting. So
I think there's going to be a fight, obviously, in issue 5, because the way they ended this issue, it had them, they find him, he runs away, they chase after him, and that's where it ends. So I feel like we'll get the end of 55 in issue 4. And maybe the beginning of what they're going to do in 85 and where Hook is and what he's doing. And then obviously issue 5 will be the grand finale of their fight with Hook. And will Vasilik survive? I don't know. Looks like Vasilik, we never heard of Vasilik in the future. Is he going to die in this series? Which will push Connor to, take out Hook once and for all?
I'm trying to remember you cut out a little bit there. But, trying to remember what happens to Vasilik after that, but I obviously issue 5 is going to lead right into that first movie. Right.
Because the guy is out there; he's confirmed to be out already. So now he's coming to They'll probably end it with him looking at New York or him entering New York or some fashion. Of which.
Yeah, I don't think we have seen him.
Yeah, he's a character that can die.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Exactly. I think because we saw his he wasn't in Highlander, but we saw his photo. I just actually looked it up. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I wonder if that's how they'll end it with his death.
That's an interesting. Yeah, I don't know. See, that's why I like when they introduce new characters, because Hook's going to die, obviously, because he's the bad guy, and the Highlander always gets the bad guy, and we know Connor survives because he goes into the first movie
with Kurgan.
So, Hook we know is going, but what about Vasilik? Will he be one of the casualties to this fight?
Yeah, that could be very interesting. I can't wait to see how this plays out. I'm so glad that we decided to do this podcast about the series.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, 100%. But I like where this is going. I like the 1955. I can't wait, because the reason why I thought we were back in 85 at first was because they were making a plan. They found Hook, and they know where he was, and it felt so much like, okay, this is like in the present day, because it looked like the final conflict finally was setting up. But then it's like, well, we have another 2 issues, and the way, like you said, the way people were dressed, that's why I couldn't tell if we were in 85 or 55. But then you mentioned the Watcher guy and Rachel, and they're both very young still, so it's like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are, still in 55.
Yeah. I get what you're saying too, because that is what they're doing in 85 is trying to find them and stuff too. So I guess they were drawing that parallel that they've been here before and they're here again, and
but I thought they were.
He's like this thorn on their side. Yeah,
I thought they were at the wrestling event. They brought it back to the wrestling event again. I'm gonna actually double check because I have my book with me.
Well, the wrestling event was in 55, right?
Was it in 55 or was it in 80? Was it back in 85? I
thought it was in 55.
I don't have my previous issue to confirm or deny that, but
yeah.
No, but even the Watcher dude, he has brown hair, so I think we are in 55.
Yeah.
Even the cover shows 55, you know what I mean?
Like I said, the description at the very beginning says New York 1955, Connor McLeod, the Highlander, and his fellow,
I'm seeing that now too. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was reading. Yeah, so it has to be. So they're still in 55.
Mhm.
It's just, it was so hard to distinguish because I guess in 55 they did exactly what they were doing in 85, and that's the frustrating factor. It's like, so we're in 55 still, so this isn't the final conflict yet.
Right, exactly. So,
it's like you said, if they would have put that little box at the very beginning still saying New York 1955, because the story stayed in the same era regardless, so you'd know that they stayed in 55, that
Right.
would have been better. Because a lot of people don't read that, especially if you're reading the series right along. You don't really need that sum up at the beginning. That's more for people who jump in, and just grab the issue and, it's like, well, this is what happened so far, and this is where we're at now. Me, personally, I don't even read that because I know what happened in the last issue. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So a lot of
exactly.
times I kind of overlook that.
Yeah, no, I get that too. I understand that. So, yeah, the wrestling was in 1955. There actually was a caption that said Manhattan 1955 right before the wrestling match.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
the wrestling was 55. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess in 85 they're still standing on the bridge technically.
Yeah, I guess so, which is weird. But, yeah, no, they should give more cues like that. I mean, they did in that instance, so they should continue that throughout. So.
Right.
But, again, that's a minor nitpick for us. Writing-wise, like I said, I thought the dialogue was solid. I thought you could follow the plot nicely aside from the, mistaken era.
Yep.
I love the build-up from, the slow to the action at the end. I thought art-wise, every part of that was fantastic. You got the emotions, you got the suspense, and then the action, you got some nice movement. I think this color style really works for these period pieces like this, which we talked about before on this show.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. Oh, I'm loving this. This is why I'm saying I really believe that this series should continue forward, even if IDW doesn't want to, dedicate themselves to an ongoing. I would love to see them at least,
do a series of miniseries.
Yeah, miniseries, exactly. Like set up story arc miniseries. Like okay, we'll commit to another miniseries for 5 issues, take about a 2 or 3 month break, and then we'll dedicate another miniseries. That works too. I mean, that's kind of how they're doing a lot of the. Image does a lot of their books. I mean, you get Saga's chapter, and then they stop for a couple of months. Birthright. Meredith Finch was talking about her book going, I think, until issue 8 or 9, and then they're taking a couple of month break. So it works perfectly fine with Highlander. I mean, you don't have to, you could keep renumbering it because Highlanders, other than the Dynamite ongoing, Highlander's been known to have miniseries. So I don't mind the going back to issue 1 because, again, it's a miniseries, so it makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally. I completely agree with you. So hopefully that's what they'll do after this wraps up, and I hope that they keep this creative team on it. I can see them trying to use other creative teams and stuff, but
don't do that.
I feel like this team gets Highlander. They know Highlander, both writing wise and artistically. I think they've got it down. So I would love to see this creative team remain on it and just continue doing it.
I 100% agree. I think if anybody else does it, especially the writing side, it's not going to have the same impact, especially because it seems like this writer is a fan of the series and understands. Absolutely. And I love, like I said, I love the concept of he's showing the good side of being immortal, but he really is saying, hey, you think it's great being immortal. Well, you can't be friends because you're going to kill somebody. People that you love are going to grow old if they're not immortal,
Yeah.
I love that he actually plays on all the positives and the negatives of this series.
Yeah. I would love to see, after this one wraps, maybe they do just in between the movies.
That would be fun. I'd be okay with that.
Or if he's able somehow to tie up some of these loose ends that some of the later movies created.
Don't
and stuff.
Touch the 5th movie.
Do
not confirm that even exists.
There's a long way to go before they got there, so we don't have to worry about that for a bit.
That was by Sci-Fi. Highlander was not created by Sci-Fi. Sci-Fi never owned Highlander until that last disgusting movie that does not exist. Doesn't exist. There's no way that movie exists. No. First of all, why would the world fall into an apocalyptic end? That makes no sense.
I don't know, especially after, I don't know, there's so many holes in Highlander trying to keep it going. It's like trying to follow the X-Men movies. It's just convoluted.
That's what happened.
Confusing.
Highlander got X-Men movied in the last movie. It's like, no, that does not exist. That movie did not happen. So many Highlander fans to this day say that movie, it's kind of like Superman 4 or Fantastic Fail. That movie, or the new Ghostbusters movie, that movie does not exist in our minds as far as the timeline of Highlander goes. Obviously, we're going to have a show about it, but in my mind, that never happened. It ended with the Duncan getting the sword passed down to him from Connor. That's it. That was the last movie.
We'll have to talk about it just because we're going to be Highlander enthusiasts here and trying to cover it all over time, not all at once.
I'll enthusiastically shove a knife through my DVD of the fifth movie. That's enthusiastic enough for you.
That's fine. We'll be honest, brutally maybe, but hey. But no, as far as this issue, again, high marks from us, and can't wait till the next one. Which now that we're a little bit late for this, we don't have to wait as long.
Right. Well, that's what our issue was. See, the problem was the release dates for these books were so, the first two issues were so close to each other, and then this one was so far away. I think that we kind of evened out now, and when the next one comes out, I believe it'll be the end of May, if I'm correct, right?
It should be. Let me see if I can find it. Number 4. See what the actual release date is. That is... Oh, that just says May 2017. Let me check. Previews World. It's the...
They're just...
May 24th. So...
The second to last Wednesday of the month. Well, it's 5 Wednesdays in May anyway.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get that episode up Memorial Day week.
Yes.
That would be awesome.
Because I'm not sure what I'll be doing on Memorial Day weekend or Memorial Weekend yet, but yeah.
Yeah.
Busy times.
So we will see. That'll be fun. Can't wait for that one. I was trying to see if there was any... No.
Don't put hope in my mind and then be like, oh, no. Never mind. Just never mind.
I'm sorry. I saw something I thought was, kind of spoiling a little bit, but this description for issue 4 is the vaguest thing I've ever read in my life.
Clearly, Brant has never read a Walking Dead preview.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, you're well. Okay, those are very vague, but at least they say something. This just looks like it was written for the series overall.
Oh wow!
The cult classic film's triumphant return continues. It follows Scottish swordsman Connor MacLeod as he clashes with powerful immortals from the American Civil War to 1950s Manhattan on an unstoppable march toward the Gathering. I mean, that's how this is written. There's nothing about this.
That kind of makes me wonder if they're going to finish Hook off in 1955 and wonder if Basilik's there in 85.
I don't know. I will have to see.
Now I'm interested. Maybe I wonder if they finish Hook in 55. I wonder what they're doing in 85.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's written by a Scottish fantasy novelist, Brian Ruckley, who wrote the Godless World trilogy. So, interesting.
Godless World. Why does that... It's not a comic book. That's a book, right?
Right.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm in the right... I believe that's a book because I remember seeing it somewhere, I think.
Yeah, it's a series of novels. Winter Birth, Blood Heir, and Wild Things are the names of them from 2006, 2008, and 2009.
Nice.
Yeah.
And now he's in comics.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the comic realm.
So, fantastic. Thank you, Brian Ruckley, for coming on to this book because you've made us fans, I have to say.
Oh, yes. And I'm really glad that he enjoyed... we did see a tweet that he did like our first episode. I'm not sure if he saw the second one yet, but hopefully he's watching or listening right along with the rest of this cast because we're definitely enjoying the book.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So hopefully, and definitely spread the word if you want us to, I don't know what I was going to say there. I just lost my
Spread
train
the
of thought.
word if you want to bring this book back.
Yeah, exactly. Let IDW know if you like this, and after these last 2 issues, if you want to see more, you can, at IDW, at Brian _Rockley, let him know how much you enjoyed it.
I think somebody did ask him on Twitter, because I am following him, and I think he said nothing's in the works yet, but he said there's a possibility.
Okay.
I think. I know he said nothing's in the works now. That I can confirm, I believe. You can check his Twitter real quick. It would probably be right at the top. But,
on April 3rd, he said, can't comment on future plans, as ever, no doubt, depends on sales and what IDW Publishing thinks makes sense. So,
right.
There you go.
That was it. That was the one. Look at Brant. He was already on the Twitter. I just mentioned Twitter, and he was there before I even could tell him to check it out.
I'm on the ball, man.
You are on the ball.
So, there you go. Highlander, American Dream, #3.
Excellent.
You need to read this series if you're a Highlander fan.
Yes, and get the subscription cover so you can see Christopher Lambert drawn in all nice painted glory.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you have anything else to say about Highlander, or should we move on to our plugs and everything?
I'm excited for the next issue. That's really all I can say at this point. I hope that we get another miniseries, if not an ongoing, and hopefully, if we get enough of an outcry, we'll get another movie or obviously, they're going to do a reboot because Chris Lambert already said he would not go back to Highlander. I don't think Adrian Paul would either. I am following Adrian Paul on Instagram, and he looks like he's having a fantastic life, and he looks great. Though I will say this: if he did say yes, he would fit perfect. He still looks like he did. I mean, obviously he did grow older. I mean, I'm not going to lie and say, oh, he looks just like he did in the premiere of Highlander, but he still has it. He looks like he could definitely pull off Highlander still. Definitely.
I would love to see a new movie. I just don't know how they make it make sense. That's my only concern with it.
If they ignore movie 5, right? Let's pretend they ignore the 5th movie and they go right after Endgame. I think they can if Adrian Paul agrees and goes on, I think they can do a really good Adrian Paul solo Highlander movie where they won't have to reboot, they won't have to worry about going back and starting all over again. And you could even have Chris Lambert said he'd do a nod. So I think I could definitely see him coming back for like a flashback.
It's like the 3rd Highlander movie, which it escapes me what the name of it was. That was supposed to be
New
the
Dimension?
end. Yeah, that was supposed to be the end. Connor got the power and everything, and that was it. And then they had another movie, and it's like, okay, what? And then they had another movie, and I was like, what?
Well, every time it was supposed to be like, oh, I'm the last one, yay! And then it's like, no, actually, you're not. There's somebody else. Because they were coming out of the woodworks. They were trapped somewhere. Most of the villains came out of, like, one was imprisoned, one was magically sealed away, You had different situations. Yeah, no,
I understand that. But the funny thing is, Duncan was still out there somewhere.
Yeah, that was the plot hole. That was the plot hole when they started the ongoing, TV series. They actually played it up that Duncan was always out there somewhere. So, but I think when the first 2 or 3 Highlander movies came out, right, they didn't know they were going to go with a TV series at some point. So Duncan, in their minds, didn't exist. Right. So to go back and have to, do major edits on movies to make it like Duncan was out there, I think that would kind of, it would ruin the movies. Also, it's kind of like when they went back to the original Star Wars trilogy and changed things, like they took out the actor. That was a big slap in the face when they took out the actor that played Darth Vader and put in the guy that played Anakin Skywalker in in the 3rd movie. I was like, really? You really did that disgusting move and put him in there?
He was Darth Vader.
No, he wasn't, though. The other guy was the guy that played Darth Vader since...
Well, James Earl Jones, I know that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but that was a slap in the face. He should have been in that last movie still. I don't know why they had to change it to the other guy.
He could have still done voice work. Didn't he still do voice work, James Earl Jones, or no?
No.
Okay.
No. It was the guy that did Mufasa's voice that was actually the voice of Darth Vader.
James Earl Jones was the voice of Darth Vader.
Right. No. I'm talking about the actor. Okay, then I'm wrong. I'm sorry.
Hayden Christensen?
No, that's the guy that replaced the older guy. I'm talking about the guy that actually was in the suit, in the Darth Vader suit throughout the whole series.
Okay.
They took him out and put in that guy.
Okay.
I think that was a slap in the face. They should have left the original Darth Vader in.
Is he still alive?
I have no clue.
Maybe he couldn't do it anymore. That's all I'm saying.
He couldn't do it anymore. I'm just saying that you don't go back. My point to this entire argument was, when a movie's done, you don't go back and change it.
Right, no, I get that. I understand that. That's fine.
Welcome to the Star Wars portion of There Can Be Only One. This is still an 80s movie, so, I mean, technically we're still in the same realm.
Well, bringing it back, do you know, I'm just curious, do you know what Adrian Paul's birthday is?
No.
Really? I'm surprised you don't know.
I have a feeling it's in May.
Take a guess.
May 28th, or 27th, or 30th.
It's in between those.
No way!
Yes.
May 29th?
Yes.
Holy crap, wow!
For those that don't know, that's Chris's birthday as well. So.
What year?
He's not the same year, I'll tell you that.
Obviously. I mean, I was a kid when he was an adult in Highlander.
Yeah. 1959.
1950, 59. Well, 69, 79, 89. He's 30 years older than Michael. So that means he's about 27, 28 years older than me. 27.
Yeah, he's 57 right now. So he'll be 58.
Right, so then you just take that, you take the 58 and subtract 32, and there you go.
Hmm.
So, there you go. He's 27 years older than me.
Yep. That's pretty
Adrian, we share a birthday!
Now we're bringing Rocky into it. Adrian!
Now, Adrian Paul, if he's listening to this podcast, he has to come on and talk Highlander with us, just because we share a birthday. We're birthday brothers. Come on, Adrian.
That would be
Come on and talk Highlander and the experience with us. Everybody listening to this podcast, share this with Adrian Paul. Do like a hashtag. Adrian Paul needs to, not needs, because if you force somebody, they never do it. Should be on There Can Be Only One podcast, the #1 Highlander podcast on the internet right now. Yeah. I think the only Highlander podcast on the internet right now.
No, there's another one. There's another one. They follow us and we follow them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there is. They cover every episode of the show.
Okay, I'm not going to say we're the best Highlander podcast, but we are a Highlander podcast.
We're the newest.
We're the newest. The newest. Okay.
What, somebody's going to start one tomorrow now and like, no, you're not.
Well, you know what? We are the Brant and Chris version of
You know what? You know what happens when you start a Highlander podcast after us? You know what happens? You just made the list.
Exactly. The list of copycat stealing.
The list of There Can Be Only One.
We are
by the way,
so
Adrian, what's that?
Nothing. Go ahead, keep going.
I was just going to say, by the way, Adrian Paul's Twitter is Adrian Paul 1. So there you go.
Yep.
The numeral
Instagram,
1.
I think his Instagram is... Hold on. Keep talking. I'm going to look up his Instagram real quick.
You were the one that was about to say something. I don't even know what you were going to say.
I don't have it open. I wanted to see if his Instagram is the same.
All right, I'll tell you this. Your Dark Avenger Live was canceled due to technical difficulties. Friday night. J Rocks, one of Comic Frontline's viewers, tweeted at us and said, "You know you were watching the NBA playoffs. That's why it was canceled."
I don't like basketball watching wise in any. Here we go. It's Adrian Paul fan page. So I don't even know if it's really Adrian Paul. It doesn't even have the check.
Okay.
I don't think he might not have an Instagram, or he might let like this fan page be his Instagram.
It's possible.
It's hard. I don't. Maybe he doesn't have a Instagram. Maybe it's just a fan page I'm following. Because I looked him up on Instagram when we started this podcast. Yeah, no, I only see the Adrian Paul fan page, but that's like the #1. There's no other ones with a check.
Gotcha. Well, maybe that's it.
Must be, because unless he changed his last name, I don't see any blue checks anywhere.
That would be weird.
There's a lot of Adrians out there, though, I will say that.
Yeah, it's Adrian.
No, I mean Adrian popular people.
That's not popular from Rocky.
No, I mean
You don't even
living, breathing, real people, not in movies.
Oh, okay. Well, Adrian Grenier, or however you pronounce his name from Entourage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Adrian Gonzalez.
Why are we're given a list of the Adrians in the world? Okay.
The popular ones. So if your name is Adrian and we don't say it here, go get a blue check so we can talk about it.
This is when
Adrian Carasaquilio. What? Wow, that is a really unique last name.
This is when you know you've run out of things to talk to and you should wrap up the podcast.
I'm sorry, I was looking for his Instagram and I just started getting into other people's names.
Okay. So, join us next month for another episode of There Can Be Only One as we talk about Highlander, among a bunch of other stuff, apparently.
I swear this show one day is going to become 80s. Zone 4 80s.
We shall see. If anybody wants to see that, you got to tweet at us. You got to comment in the comments below. You got to email us,
and also Patreon it. You know,
yeah.
That 80s and that 90s show. We'll have two shows. One, the 80s show, since we're already in the 80s, that'll be on like a $5 tier. The 90s will be like on a $10 tier. Because that's a new podcast altogether then.
Okay. We'll see. You're making a lot of work for
90s.
us, man.
I don't even remember the 90s. I'm going to have to go back and recheck everything myself.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That's all you need to know.
Oh, jeez, really? That really makes me want to do a 90s. Let's stick to the 80s.
But, Chris, in West Philadelphia, born and raised on a playground is where I spend most of my days.
You're going off topic again.
Chilling out Max and relaxing all cool when I was shooting some b-ball outside the school.
I'm going to hit you with my shillelagh.
When a couple of guys who were up to no good started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight. My mom got scared and said, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel-Air."
I'll show you where your auntie and uncle is.
I whistled for a cab, and when it came near, the license plate said Preston or Dyson here. If anything, I could say that this cab was rare, but I thought, nah, forget it. Yo home to Bel-Air. I pulled up to the house about 7 or 8, and I yelled to the cabbie, "Yo home, smell you later." Looked at my kingdom, I was finally there to sit on my throne. Now the Prince of Bel-Air.
I hate you right now. Why? Damn Will Smith.
That has been stuck in my head since the 90s, and it won't leave, so there you go.
Yeah, well, stick the Banana Splits theme back in your head.
No.
La 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 la.
All right, let's quit before we go into Barney or something stupid.
I'll kill you. I will murder you and send your body parts to Scotland if you even think about Barney. Even think about that purple freak.
Chris, I'm not immortal, so you cut my limbs off, they're gone. So
Good. So let's not talk about Barney.
All right.
But before we close out, Adrian Paul, the Adrian that is Paul, who played in the Highlander TV series, if you would like to come on, or even Christopher Lambert, if you'd like to come on, and you guys would like to talk about your experience in Highlander, we would love. I will stay up till 7, 8, 5, 4 in the morning. I don't care what time period.
You stay up to 7, 8.
I will stay up. I will be up at the craziest hour. I will stay up at I don't go to bed until around 7 in the morning, dude. So I will stay up.
Morning. You didn't specify. You're like, I'll stay up till 7 or 8.
No, in the morning. I don't care because they're all off in Europe. I don't care what time of day, night, morning, evening. You will be on the cast. I will be awake. I will make sure to be on Skype or whatever broadcast program you have, and I will force Brant to be up at whatever time you want to do a 2-on-1 interview.
Okay, at the risk of sounding just a little bit desperate there.
No, I'm just saying I love Adrian Paul and Chris Lambert as actors for Highlander. It's just they're in Europe, so they're in different time zones. Remember, in England, I think 9 o'clock at night is around like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. So their morning is probably like 3 in the morning our time.
Yeah, it's like the 6-hour difference or 5-hour difference or something like that, yeah.
So I will be up for them if they're willing to come on. So please, everybody tweet at them, make them know that we want them on, and we'll hopefully get them on for maybe at least a half hour to talk about their experiences.
So I think the moral of this is Chris would like to talk to you, Adrian and Christopher.
Lambert.
He would like to talk to you on our podcast.
I would.
That's what I gathered from that. What?
And so would you.
Of course. That was
my childhood.
All right, so we're going to close this out before it gets any weirder. Before they have to file a restraining order against Chris. And
I did not file a restraining order. It's not like I stalk him.
Oh, you cyber stalker.
I don't know what Chris Lambert's doing right now. I know he's in Paris doing a movie probably because he's French, I believe.
Okay, we're done. All right. So, do you have anything you want to plug before we wrap this up?
My channel, Dark Avenger Podcast. It's a Podcast is back, and episode 2 should be soon. Lots to talk about actually for that. And like Brant said, Zone 4. Can't wait for the major announcement that will be probably now next month.
We're making an announcement? No, I'm kidding.
Then I want my money. Give me my money.
Oh, shoot.
He owes me $100.
Yeah. Okay. I want my card.
You'll get that.
All right.
Brant a Pokemon card.
Yeah. Piggybacking off of you, there will be a new episode of Zone 4 next week. It is out of April, so, it's a long story, but I'll explain it on Zone 4 why it's a week late, but it is our 8-year anniversary celebration episode, which, our anniversary was in April, so we're a little bit late with that, but there are reasons behind it, and we'll talk all about that on Zone 4, so look for that next Friday, or I guess this coming Friday, whatever the first Friday of May is, May 5th. And speaking of... Yeah, May the 5th. Speaking of May 5th, Lisa and I will be on your show, Chris, Dark Avenger Live. And Lisa will be inking and coloring the cover to Celestial Falcon #1, the last part of that issue. So, live. You can watch it. All come to fruition.
Yep.
Maybe
May the 4th, I'll be on Media Madness for Rogue One.
Oh, awesome. I didn't know they were doing that. Maybe I'll swing by.
Brant's going to be on. Brant's going to be on.
We shall see. We shall see. So I was going to say something else. Oh yeah, maybe time allowing, and we'll see how long it takes her to color and everything. Maybe I'll even lay out the cover treatment on it on air. We'll see.
Woo! So you better be around next Friday.
Yeah. May 5th.
And if I swear to Christ, if either of our internets go out, I'm going to start taking heads myself.
I'm telling you. We've been having some internet troubles. Beyond that, please check out my channel, youtube.com/Brant Fowler. I do a weekly series on Mondays called Monday Musings. It's random thoughts in under 4 minutes.
It's a musing.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you very much. But bumps. Nice play on words there. Clean. All right, and of course, Comic Frontline. Check us out Tuesday nights for the live show. We got a lot to talk about this week again. Had a fantastic show last week, and we're going to be talking about our top 5 and all that good stuff. And of course, lastnumberpress.com, zone4podcast.com, What the Card on YouTube, comicfrontline.com, and Dark Avenger C86, Brant Fowler. There's all your links. They'll be in the description below. And join us next month for another episode of There Can Be Only One, straight from the Highlands of Zone 4.
That's right.
Bye, everybody.
Adrian!
I took your shillelagh.
Damn it.
We've come to be the rulers of
This has been a Gonzo Goose production. Honk!